Right, everyone. Blessed evening. Blessed evening. I need a microphone because guess what? This is the Women in Media edition brought to you by Brown Style Magazine. Did you see Brown Style Magazine? Did you see all that was going on? I don't know. You need to go to brownstylemagazine.com and check out everything that's going on with the Women in Media. One of the most historic issues of the magazine. So we're excited, and we have one of the women in media coming on right now, Miss Brandi. Brandi Sims. She's a PR strategist. She's literally, I mean, there's so many things going on with Brandi. So we're gonna get ready to speak to her right now. Hey, T Life in the building. T Life in the building. All right, we're gonna give it a moment. Give her a moment to get on. Give it a moment. How are you this evening? How is everybody this evening? I hope you had an opportunity to see what the lovely Tweety Elite 2 is doing with Brown Style Magazine. All right, we're waiting right now. All right. Hey, T Life, how are you? How's it going on this beautiful Monday evening? On this beautiful Monday evening. I'm excited. Okay, hold on. Make sure. I definitely sent the request. We're gonna wait to see. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty
You
good. I heard your message on there. It is I almost said Sunday. Lord help us. Monday. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It is a great Monday. It's a busy day, but definitely a great Monday. But you are so beautiful. It's so great to see you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so let's get into it. Women in media. I mean, have you seen what's happening with Brown Style Magazine and everything that's happening?
Oh, yes, I did, and I was so honored to be selected for it. When I got the notification, I was floored. I was completely floored, and it's just such an honor to be recognized in this capacity. But really, I mean, I'm amongst some incredible women in media and communications that yeah, I still have goosebumps.
Right. I mean, and I've had the opportunity to know the Elite Two family for so long, and to see everything that's going on. I'm just celebrating, really celebrating
Yes.
every woman in media, because media has been a thing. It's been a thing for so many years, and to finally get the recognition, women, right, really standing up and just being seen, right? So let's talk about
Absolutely.
you, Brandi. Brandi,
Yes.
you've been in media for 15 years, right?
Yes. Yes.
15 years. I mean, you look like you're 15, so I'm like, man, you must have been a baby. But 15 years. And I was reading through your bio. What I really liked, um, you know how sometimes you're trying to figure out things about somebody and you go to their social media and you can't find anything about them. And I think your
Yeah.
PR
Yeah.
experience lets you make sure, like, all I had to do was click about. I was like, you
Yeah.
know, that is so underrated, because I've had to, look through people and I'm like, I can't find anything about them. But I
Yeah.
was able to read about you, which was like, yes. Is that a testament to your PR experience and what you teach other people?
Oh, 1,000%, 1,000%. It is intentional that I have things set up the way that they are, that I share as much as I do. And I'll be honest, like in the past, it was not like this. When I started my company, Branding PR, back in 2020, it was almost 10 plus years in my career by that point. And I was just thinking of it and looking at it in the sense of someone with the fresh eyes that's looking at my brand. They may know me, but they don't know the company. They don't know the organization. And I have to really work at sharing more about myself. And it's something that was very, very new to me. And I know a lot of other publicists can speak to this, a lot of practitioners can speak to this. Back in the day, PR, communications, media in general, like you were seen but not heard. We weren't in the front, right? You're right. We were never like that. In fact, I remember the days where even for events, we would wear black because we didn't need to draw attention to ourselves. Exactly. We would draw it's more about our client. It's not about us. So we were very much in the background. So coming from that space of almost retraining my brain into, no, I need to push this out, or I need to share what we're doing, or I need to share what I'm specifically doing, was largely because of that upbringing in the PR and communications world of, we're not seen. No, I have to be seen, because now we're in the digital platforms and we're the digital world where brands are being engaged with, but it's the brands that are engaging. And part of that is you have to get on there and engage with people. So I definitely attribute it to that, working with clients over the years and being so much of a cheerleader for them, that I had to relearn that I have to be a cheerleader for myself and for my brand in order for people to learn more about what I do. And it was from that, I still get chills whenever I do share something, because I'm so used to being told, nuh-uh, PR, media comms, you're not supposed to be, this is not about you. And it's like, no, it is. It is about me. This is my brand. This is my thought leadership. So I'm going to share it.
Yes, it is. And like I said, I was literally so excited, and only because I recognize it, like this doesn't happen every day, that I actually can click on and actually find out about somebody. So I was like, oh, you just made life so much easier. I do a lot of snooping, but I was like, you made the snooping very easy. So 15 years in PR, right? What made you decide to get into PR? What excited you about it? And Brown Style said to you, "Hi, Brandi."
Yes. Hey, Brown Style.
And
Hey.
then said, "Hey, Dr. Shelley. Hello. Good evening." All right,
Oh,
all right.
yes.
So
I love it.
what excited you about PR and said, "This is what I want to do"?
Oh, yes. It started very, very early. It was in the early 2000s. As you know, reality TV had just become a thing, right? It was still new, and I don't even think it had a real name, but it was becoming a thing, right? And there was this one particular show on MTV. It was called Power Girls, and then the PR was emphasized. And in this show, they followed the Lizzie Grubman PR, who represented Halle Berry. I want to say she represented Brandi and several other entertainment folks at that time. They follow her and her team as they were learning and really seeing what it's like to work behind the scenes in PR and communications. So as a teen, I looked at it and I was just in awe. The glamour, the fights, the strategy, the coordination, despite all the chaos that was going on. And I really looked at that as a teen and was just like, man, this is so crazy. I think these are my people. I think this is what I want to do. And so from there, I dedicated the rest of my, academic career and professional career into learning more about the field, getting as much information as possible, getting educated. I went to graduate with my Bachelor of Arts, followed with an MBA, and then more recently finished my PhD in strategic media comms. And in all of that, I was working, representing major brands, national brands, local, national, you name it. I was getting into a little bit of everything. Industry-wise, was working with entertainment, then started off with nonprofits and finance, and just did as much as I could to learn the field and understand the strategy behind it so that I could be the best practitioner that I could be. But definitely, when I watched that, I was inspired. And that's really what set the trajectory for me to want to do and be better and just absorb like a sponge as much as I could about communications and just be that go-to person for brands and organizations, and as well as public figures that were looking for that type of support. But yeah, that's where it started. I mean, watching a TV show, spiraled me into a career in this space for the past 15 plus years.
And it seems to be something you truly love. And I have to make sure I put the respect on your name, Dr. Brandi. Dr. Brandi, I
Thank
mean,
you.
I want everybody to hear what you just said. Because I read in your bio that you were in school. And I was like, I was like, okay, now you've graduated from Liberty University, right?
Yes, yes, that's right. See, you did your research. Yes,
And
that is
Dr.
correct.
Brandi,
Yes,
this is so amazing. Congratulations. I know what it takes. So congratulations to
thank you.
you.
Thank you so
Wow.
much. I know you know it was not easy. I I'm not in that phase yet because it's still fresh, where I'm still kind of like this in terms of, hey, would you do it again? Absolutely not. So give me a couple years and I might say, oh yeah, yeah, go for it. And right now I'm just like, whoo, that thing was hard. And especially when you're working, you're writing for magazines, running a podcast, doing episodes, representing clients across the country.
Well,
Like
that's a
it
lot.
was crazy to be doing all that. But I am type A and a Capricorn through and through. I will take on everything and keep going and like, okay, what else you got? And that's just
Oh,
been the story of my life. But after this, no, but seriously, I'm going to get a break eventually
I mean,
and sit
a,
myself down.
a break and you're going to do something else. I
I'm
already
going to find
know
something
that
else. You know, I'm
you,
going to
you
find something else.
I was trying to think about what are you going to do next. It's like, what is Brandi going to do next? Dr. Brandi, sorry, what is Dr. Brandi going to do next? Because I know you're working something. Even if it's not working on right now, I know you're going to be working on something. But awesome, amazing. So talk about your podcast. You did mention that, so you're talking about now that you have to put yourself out there. So that means you're also putting yourself out there by creating and curating your own podcast. Now, what is it all
Yes.
about?
Oh, I mean, we talk about and we uncover so many aspects of communication, but we also tap into business and entrepreneurial insights because, again, in my background, I have an MBA as well. So I did some business consulting over the years and really got a chance to learn about the entrepreneur's experience from the ground up, building something from the ground up, not only from the education side of things, but actually having to do it myself. It was such an experience, night and day, from what they teach you in the textbook to actually doing it. So inviting those industry leaders and professionals to talk about their experiences as an entrepreneur, talk about the failures, the losses, but also those wins. And I've had the pleasure of speaking with agency owners, founders that have run Fortune 500 companies, that have built national brands, international brands in some cases, and really get to unpack on so many levels what their process was like, those challenges, what were they like? Because that's one thing that I was very, very clear on in creating the Branding PR podcast was that I don't want to just talk about your wins. So you pitching me talking about, oh, well, everything is great. I want to talk about the suck of it, the suck. That's
Mm.
the not so fun stuff. That's the I was grinding and then I failed. I was grinding and I had this presentation put together and we didn't win the $1 million contract. I want to talk about that stuff too, because part of our journey, all of us, we go through it, is there's a lot of no's and there's a lot of fails. And in sharing all of these wins and successes, I feel like there's always that idea that people start to get that, oh, you just winning. You're on a winning season and everything is just great. And it's like, well, you didn't see all those times where I got a no, like a straight up no. You didn't see those times where, man, we're going to get this contract. We're going to do this. Like, this is exciting. And they say, oh, well, we decided to go with the white agency because they can do X, Y, Z. Or even if it's not even more than what we can do, but oh, we just decided to go with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So being able to hear those stories and share those stories has been incredible, incredible. One of my favorite interviews was with Larry Namer, who, those who are unfamiliar, he was actually the founder of Entertainment Network in the 90s. He actually founded the network and he was sharing just kind of what that experience was like in building the network to what it was in its heyday and to the point that it is now. But in hearing his story, it was very much the same things that I would hear from other entrepreneurs, the grind, the doors getting slammed in front of you, right? It was the lack of funding, really having to get bootstrapped in all the things that you want to do, and selling an idea and selling a dream that people really weren't 100% sold on. Because a lot of people, they're used to the entertainment world now, right? When we think of social media platforms and we think of magazines and blogs and all of these other things. But during that time, there were very few spaces where that was taken seriously, like a whole network dedicated to entertainment. Why would anybody go there when they can buy their magazine? And then cut to today, and where are print magazines now? It's changed. The game has changed. So it definitely was really, really enlightening. But there's so many great conversations and interviews that I've had with so many incredible individuals that, that's the types of stories we want to hear. And these are the types of stories that can really inspire those that are maybe sitting at their desk and wondering, like, if this 9 to 5 is even, this is where I should be, what is the process? What is the strategy? What are the things that I need to do to get to the level that I want to get at? And what does that look like? And just having the realness of it, right? And not just you buy this $20 kit and then we gonna make you $1,000 in 2 hours. And all this crazy stuff. And it's like, no, be for real with people. How long does it take to be successful? And do you ever see that success? What was that process like? What was the strategies like? When we talk about branding and communication, what was it like to go from a really recognizable brand that you're associated with and then have to start on your own? You don't get to take that name and likeness with you. You got to start from scratch. High strategy, high tactics. That takes a lot because you're building something from zero and getting people to come to you and be that light bulb that just brings them in. That's impactful. And those are the types of things that we talk about and things that we get into. But yeah, it honestly, as much as people say like podcasts are just, it seems like a lot of work and all this other stuff. For me, it doesn't feel like work. It really feels like
enjoy it. I
enjoy it. Yes,
I can tell. It's like you are like beaming talking about it. I'm like, I want to. How can we see? Is it a visual? Is it an audio? What is it?
So we have both. So it's primarily available on all major streaming platforms. So iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We even have it on Amazon Music as well. And we also share it on YouTube. So you can get clips, links, and the full videos on there too. So we have both options. So however way you like to enjoy the podcast, you can enjoy it there. But definitely, I need to see you on my podcast, see you and hear you. So definitely after this, let's connect, because I would love to host you and talk to you a little bit more about your journey and get right into some of the hot topics that are happening now.
What? Listen, I'm honored. I can't wait. I'm excited. Like I said, I am just like your joy. Like Brown Style said, true joy. Your joy is infectious. Like it's like,
thank you.
Oh my goodness, thank you for loving what you do, right? Because so many people in this world don't love what they do, but to see that 15 years ago you watched a show on MTV that changed your life, and I'm like, what? So you mentioned so many different things, but I want to know about the people you get on. You said you go after these people, but when you went after the people for your podcast, did you think did you have to lead with your PR, or did you lead with who you are, Dr. Brandi?
Oh my goodness. Oh man, that's such a good question. So I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I put it out that I would be starting the podcast, the inbox was full. I am so blessed that people were just like, they swarmed. That's the best way to describe it. They swarmed. How can I get on the show? This is what I do. This is what I talk about. This is what I was able to achieve. And then it's so spot on, because I guess just how I operate and maybe just reputation wise, they came with receipts and everything ready to go. And I was just like, y'all know me so well, because you know what I'm going to ask you. Don't just come on here. I'm great because I am, and you should have me on here. I'm going to swipe, or I'm going to tell my team, go ahead and Go in and put that right in that one folder where we never look at it again. But they came ready to go, sharing the recognition that they received, sharing the specifics of how they were able to solve a problem for their audience, which I absolutely love. Those types of things are exactly what I want on the podcast, but exactly what our audience wants to hear about. They don't, again, want to hear about just how great you are just for being great. I can celebrate you and do all of that separately, but let's get into it. Let's have the real conversations. Let's get into the real things. Let's talk about all the things, and then let's incorporate some of the hot topics and things that have been happening in our world that impact branding and communication, as well as business in general and entrepreneurship. Those are the things that we want to cover. So yeah, I was really, really blessed and fortunate when I announced that, we would be doing this. It was right out the gate. Hey, I have somebody I want to recommend, or it was, hey, I want to be on here. Let me tell you, this is what I have to offer. This is what I've done. And, this would be helpful. And it was just incredible. So the first, I would say 6 months was recorded within about a couple weeks. So that's multiple, those 2 quarters, we already had it booked based on the response. Yeah, thank you.
You get the golden mic.
Listen, it was awesome. So, and even now, we still get that high level of responses. We're on a couple platforms. Goodness gracious, I want to name drop it correctly. I want to say it's radioguestlist.com. Incredible. If you are a podcaster, put your stuff, they'll list it for free. They will list it for free, and they'll create a spreadsheet for those responses, and you pick those folks that, just stand out for you that you want on there. They can help filter a lot of that out. But also, I have folks that'll share it on their personal and professional networks that make it so easy for them to contact and get connected with us if they want to be on the show and all of that good stuff. So definitely, I've been really, really blessed and not having to do a lot of the heavy work of finding guests. They just come to us. But you know what? I put it out there. And, I am very much in the, how do I say it? I'm in the mind frame of you put it out there and you just wait for it to return what it needs to be. And whether it's good, whether it's bad, it all comes full circle. So you put that energy out there and you put that energy out there confidently, you'll get what it is that you're after and what you're looking for or where you're hoping for. But you have to know first that you can do it, that you're deserving of it, and the rest, it will fall in line the way that it needs to. I think that's so important for entrepreneurs to hear, but this is also something that I share with my clients. Everything that you are wanting to do, you can do. You have to know that first. I can do all of the pitching for you. I can get you on this national placement or national media, on this TV show and all that other stuff. But if you don't feel like you can do it, what do you think you're going to do when you're in that space? You're not going to perform the way that you need to. So you need to constantly be reinforcing and encouraging yourself. I tell clients, this is like a little thing. It's like, get in the mirror in the morning. It's like, today's going to be a good day because it is a good day. Give yourself those profit. I can do it because I can. You know who I am?
Oh, I like
I
that
got this far
one.
and you thought I wasn't going to do it. I was going to do it. Those positive affirmations, whatever that is for you, start your day off with that and then go into it. I even tell them to do it before an interview. And guess what they do? They kill the interview. They just go crazy in the interview and they do amazing. But I think it's that confidence building that gets them in that mind frame that they need to be. That's something that I share with clients. That's something that I do personally. And that's something that makes a huge, huge difference when it's time to show up for things that you really, really want. You have to believe that you're deserving to get them.
I'm gonna say this, right? You mentioned, like, I can listen to you. I could just listen to you all day. I mean, I know that you push everyone else, but man, your brand, Dr. Brandi, are truly, I mean, from the heart, I'm telling you, you are truly incredible. And I'm just listening like, well, I'm in awe. So, you mentioned that you like to hear your podcast guests talk about their failures. And it seems like, have you gone through any of those failures? But I would also mention that people are saying things. So I have to put my glasses on so I can see exactly everything they're saying right now, because they're showing you so much love. All right.
Oh, yes.
So Brown Star said, Pastor. Okay, let me go up. Let me go up a little bit. The pastor strategist. Hey, girl. Hey, beautiful. Says yes, Dr. Brandi. We love a good affirmation. Speak easy. Yes. Um.
Yes.
So, what else do we see? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Of course, they're giving love to Brown Style Magazine. Make sure we shout out Brown
Brown
Style
style.
Magazine. Come on. Thank you so much to Tweety Elite too. I think she popped on for a moment. The passion strategist says has not stopped smiling the entire time. The joy of Dr. Brandi shines very bright.
Thank you.
But it's the truth. It is so
Yeah.
true. Brown Style says love to see the connections and sisterhood. Oh my goodness. But you know what? You make it so easy because you're so full of joy. And it's good to see that in the world full of, not everybody has the joy
Yes.
like that. Not everybody has that
Mm-hmm.
peace in their heart like that, but you really do. So I know why you do what you do, but you just shine so incredibly bright. Brown Star says
Thank
Dr.
you.
Brandi is dropping gems. I know, right? I'm gonna go into the mirror like, you know who I am.
Yes.
It's me.
Yes.
It's me though.
It's big me. Okay. That I couldn't do it, please let me show you. That's the type of energy we need to have in all aspects of our lives. And it seems silly at first to do this in the mirror, but once you've done it enough, it's like, no, this is what I need. I need to add fuel to myself. I need to add fuel to start my day. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with self-care and managing and preserving your confidence so that you can show up in the way that you need to in the workplace, in your personal life, across the board. Like, we need that. And we need those reminders too. I saw something was trending about being cringe is back again. Okay, I never stopped being cringe. I don't care. If you like it, you like it. You don't, okay, you're not my person. And I think that needs to be emphasized too. It's okay. Be okay, we're cringe. Okay, whatever. What does that look like? What does that even mean? It's cringe to you, but it's fantastic to this person. So I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, and that's it. But I definitely think, it's a non-negotiable. Yes. Oh, I love that comment in there. It's a non-negotiable. If you want to show up the way that you need to show up, you have to constantly be pouring into yourself. Think of it like a plant. You can't just leave it on the windowsill and just let it soak in all of that sun, or no sun at all. It can't just sit there. You have to constantly nurture it by giving it water, giving it the fuel it needs to grow and continue to thrive. The sun is another piece because it needs a little bit of that, not a lot, but a little, that'll help it to grow as well. All of these things, think of it in the same sense as those affirmations when you get started. Think of it in the same sense of prepping yourself before a media interview. Like, okay, let me run down, my specific points, my talking points, make sure I've got everything queued up. Or in reverse, for that person that is interviewing someone, making sure, okay, did I look up the person? Do I have a good understanding? What are some real questions that I want to ask them when I get to sit them down? Those are the types of things, that prep work. That's what builds our confidence, so that when we need to show up, oh, we got this, as opposed to, oh, I'm not really sure, I might be okay. And
Oh yeah.
no. And then imposter syndrome is a whole nother thing. And I've heard some really good things about this. I'll tell you this real quick. There was this video that came out that was talking about imposter syndrome, and I will never forget. She says, is it imposter syndrome, or have you been constantly told that you're not enough or you don't do enough or XYZ, and basically been gaslit? And when I heard that, I was just sitting there like, you know what? You've got a bar there, because we're constantly told, oh, imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you belong to, and you don't feel like you can do this. And it's despite the fact that you have all of the qualifications and things necessary to perform and do what you need to do. Like, we're always told that, right? About imposter syndrome. But when you really look at it, who is it coming from? Is this person saying, oh, well, it's imposter syndrome, or is it really just the fact that you've constantly been told these things and now you're starting to internalize it? This is why you have to cut that cord of caring so much what other people think, caring so much to not be cringe or not be somebody's cup of tea. Be yourself. Bring yourself into what you want to do and what you have available, and push that. it's going to be a lot easier, less headache, less stress. Okay.
Well, for
When you can
you,
show up authentically.
you just seem to have it. I mean, I have suffered a time or two with imposter syndrome, even though I've been in media for a very long time. But it's when you get to, although I claim to be forever 21, I clearly know that I'm not. But
I
you
wouldn't
get.
know.
Thank
You better
but
go ahead.
you get to a point where you're like, okay, well, I know that I've been in the media since the 90s, but
Yes.
then you have to keep reinventing yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the imposter syndrome shows up because you may not be able to do as much as somebody else, or your
Yep.
hustle and grind may not
Yep.
be like that anymore. So it does pop up. But I don't want to make sure I get these questions. It says, what tips
Oh,
do you
yes.
have? Brown Style says, what tips do you have for those interested in getting publicity for their brand?
Oh, that's a good question. So I would start with, first, before we start reaching out and pitching any media outlet, what is your story? What is your story? Can you tell me your story in an elevator pitch? Can you share with me who you are in that short, brief amount of time? And if the answer is yes, okay, let's move into pitching. If it's no, that's totally fine too. But let's really sit down and hone in on our messaging, because at the end of the day, media thrives on stories, human stories, real stories, stories that are newsworthy, and what you bring to that is the story. You have to have something for them to work with in order for them to cover it. So often I'm starting to find, now that social media has taken off, right? Before, consumers didn't really have the microphone in terms of information and speaking to the public. It was the media. Media was the gatekeeper of sharing information to the public. Now you have consumers and social media users that are now able to have almost the same level, if not equally, to be able to publish a message and share a message that can go to the overall public, right? So with that, now you have a lot of DIY happening. And not knocking, everybody's got their hustle, but you got a lot of people that don't have the expertise, the training, any type of experience in this space, that are now going and skipping middlemen and just, I'm going to pitch them myself. And they don't understand the caveats of how to build an actual story, how to actually successfully pitch. I cannot tell you how many times, and it's so funny, going from the PR side to the media side, I have had so many moments where I'm sitting here like, now I understand what media was always talking about. These pictures is bad. Like, they didn't even spell my name right. Somebody said, sir, madam. I'm a madam. You didn't even change the little thing when you did this AI pitch. Like, you didn't even personalize it. At least tweak it a little bit to make it seem like, you actually tried to pitch me to be on my show. You know what I'm saying? It's those little things that I do think it does help us on one end, because it sets apart the professionalism. Here are the professionals doing, and then here's just anybody. It shows. So the major tip I would have is definitely get a hold of your story first before you start pitching all of these podcasts, all of these online blogs, all of these different media outlets that you have now found through lists and all of these different areas that they're finding them from, and hone into that message first. And then from there, build out the pitch. Now you've got your story. What makes this newsworthy? Because at the end of the day, if it's not newsworthy, it does not matter. You can be screaming into the void as much as you want. They're not going to read it. They're not going to care. They're only picking the ones that they can see that there's actually an angle here that we could use that's valuable, or there's information here that you have to offer as an expert that I can actually take and build that into something that I have here, or something that we want to create that hasn't been done before. That, I think, is the biggest thing and biggest lesson that people can learn from this, and just do better with, is build your story out first, right? And then the second is actually making it newsworthy and asking yourself, is this newsworthy? There's a criteria for it. There's timeliness. There's the content of the information. There's so many different key things that as professionals we know about, practitioners we know about, but the average person doesn't know about. But at the basic level, just ask the question, is this newsworthy? That will tell you everything that you need to know as far as your story and where it fits in any of the categories that media is looking for. One thing I can give an example. Oh, goodness gracious, a grand opening of a local business.
Mm-hmm.
That's newsworthy. I've decided to start a business online. I'm sorry, that's not newsworthy. Because how many online businesses are there? I stopped counting. I stopped counting, Dr. Shelley, after the pandemic because they were popping up out the woodwork. There's so many. That's not newsworthy anymore. Now, if you got a brick and mortar, okay, let's talk. But if you're talking about an e-commerce, that's not newsworthy. Find something that's newsworthy. Tell me something that I don't know already. There's so much going on with AI. Does your company specialize in it? Have they created something that can optimize or make it more efficient? Are you doing something that nobody else is doing? That's newsworthy. Those are the types of questions people have to ask whenever they're wanting to build this thing out. So yeah, definitely that's my first tip for the DIY people, but also for the practitioners too. First, build the story out, then build the pitch. Is it newsworthy? That's the main things that you need.
That's funny. In my head, I was sitting there thinking, what story could I pick? You know how you like, I'm trying to visualize it and then
Yep.
think of what could my story, I know my story, but I was thinking, what story would be newsworthy enough to get the pitch? So, you're allowing us to think about it because I really went through my whole head like, what story would I
Oh,
pitch? Which one
yep.
would be newsworthy? Is it really newsworthy? I don't know. So I had to go through it all in my head thinking like, I don't know if that was really newsworthy. And then I realized that a lot of people leave their own hype
Yep.
and they're thinking it's just newsworthy, but I was like,
Yep.
I want to believe my own hype. I want to be able to pitch a story that would be really impactful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can even say like with one of our clients, amazing Atlanta, a restaurant out in Atlanta, West African. If you guys have not been, you need to go. But it's called Bloom Bar Atlanta. So when Bloom Bar decided to open their restaurant in the US, they have their main restaurant is in Accra, Ghana. So they were deciding about 3-4 years ago when we got with them that they wanted to enter the US market. So when we got with them, we put together strategy, plans, all of that good stuff. Okay, how we're going to roll this out. And in the initial, and they'll be fine with me sharing this. In the initial, their plan was to simply just put it out there, hey, we got a new business. And then that was it. And so we were just like, yeah, that's not going to work. So here's what we can do. Like, we need to do a grand opening. We need to do a launch. Okay. We need to have something that brings people in, but we also need to be sharing the story of who you are. Because right now, on paper, okay, a restaurant opened a business. That's not a story. I mean, it's a footnote. Oh, okay, that happened. But it's not something that's going to draw attention to media. So what we did is we positioned it in a way of that ain't no story. Here's the story, okay? And building it out to where they could see the tie-in to what was going on in food culture at the time. I know Keith Lee was popping off and it was becoming super major, his reviews. There was an incredible need for more multicultural foods and options in cuisine. And here with West African culture, and specifically in Ghana, they're known for that. They're known for mixing and fusing different types of cultures into their own to create foods like seafood paellas and all that other stuff. Like they had different, chicken, like what you would have is like a chicken fried rice. They would incorporate that into some of their signature dishes. And that's just like street food in Ghana. So we tied in all of those really unique aspects of what made the restaurant really special and really different from all the other ones that were in Atlanta. And we positioned them in that way to garner that attention with media to say, hey, it's just not about a restaurant opening, it's about culture fusing here in America. From that point, we set that pitch up, push it out to our contacts. We ended up getting not only national media places, we got a feature in Cuisine Noir, which is very high notable food cuisine magazine out in DC. Shout out to them. We were able to get them on Fox and so many other different areas, from stations to publications. But I think a lot of it had to do with our strategic positioning in making the story an actual story, and not just saying and being that, I would say, and I don't want to be rude, an atypical PR agency where it's like, okay, the client says, oh, we just need the press release, or oh, the business is opening. Taking what they say and then they just, okay, we put it out. That'll be $1,000. That'll be $5,000. When you're working with us, we're intentional. Everything that I do is intentional. The people we work with are intentional. The work we produce is intentional. And that's going to continue. It does not stop for nobody. So when you come to us, and I made it very clear, like, this is what we're here to do. So I hear you. That sounds great. But we're not going to do that. We're about to do this. And, it's been that bluntness and that honesty. I mean, I've had some incredible clients to work with us. And then I've had some that you just need to do what I say. We pay you. That's fine. You can leave. Oh, I don't need money that bad. We're in a good position now that we don't need to do all that. And even then, even when I wasn't in a good position and just getting started out, you got to talk that talk, right, Dr.
You got to, like,
but
listen,
even then,
because you want to protect your peace.
Protecting my peace. Oh, no. Oh, no. If you want an agency that just does what you say, then by all means, do it yourself. Now, if you want somebody to actually help you reach your goal, then you have to let the practitioner do the job. And that's a part of it. So yeah, that was one of our just incredible success stories.
So how's he doing now? And then I want to ask, somebody asked another question. The passion strategist asked another question. But how is the restaurant doing now? Because how once you do the PR initial push, you get the big display,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Do they have to keep going? Do you have to keep working with you as the PR agent, or do they say, all right, well, we've got it and we're going to go now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we always recommend to continue working. We've been working with them for almost 4 years now. And it's because they understand that PR isn't a one and done. And that was something even earlier in our conversations. Mind you, this is something that they can speak to as well. I'm allowed to talk about this. But this particular project with Boom Bar, it was only meant to be a 3-month project. It was specifically just for this grand opening launch. And here we are now, 4 years later, still working with it. So, I mean, it speaks for itself. The work speaks for itself, the results speak for themselves. But it's one of those things that longevity makes all the difference. It is not a pitch. It's not a ploy. It's not here, we just want to make money off you. Absolutely not. The goal here is that, one, you have to understand PR is a constant. It is a constant nurturing. It's a constant thing you have to continuously doing, right? It's no different than back in the 90s. They would always talk about your 15 minutes of fame, or you got to extend that time and all that. Like, that is a real thing. You have to constantly be nurturing and speaking to your audience. Now, unless you plan to do that every single day, okay, you need to hire someone that is going to maintain and keep that up. Now, that's not to say that we allow ourselves to get stagnant. Oh, absolutely not. What we don't want is that your communication to become redundant, where it's like, okay, we did our 3 posts this week, popped on a podcast, did this, check the box. Okay, we're done. Absolutely not. Your strategy in your strategic communications plan needs to constantly be evolving and adapting as things in the environment are changing. What tactics we were doing 5 years ago are definitely not what we're doing now. There's some little bits, but for the most part, a lot has changed because technology has changed. The environment has changed. And then with that, we have to adapt to that and adapt to the needs of the audience. Right? So it makes a really, really big difference. But absolutely, the longer that you're with PR and with PR support, the better the results become. But that's because it's a constant nurturing and building upon. In that first 3 months, we had incredible placements. But within that 3, 6, 9, it went from maybe 100 to roughly 100,000 impressions to multi-million impressions, based on the type of media we're getting. And this is kind of a good point to make too. When we started, we were getting a lot of local media interest and all of that good stuff. And in the beginning, it was kind of like and really specifically with digital media, they were just like, Brandi, I know you want us to do the digital media. And this was my African accent. We know you want to do the digital, but it's like, it's a waste. Is it a waste of time? I mean, they seem like they're not serious and, all of that good stuff. And so what we did is we strategically went after podcasts and online platforms that had those followings, that had the viewership, that had really solid subscribers. And they were in awe. They saw, because we would break it down for them when we get the media kits and all of the stats and the metrics to show them the comparison. And we broke it down for them and showed them, like, listen, digital media is taking off, right? And it's not something that we can continue to ignore. This space is getting just as much attention as the TV shows were at one point. They're getting just as much viewership, just as much subscribers, that we can't ignore them. We have to consider them in all of our strategy and our planning when we're talking about media outreach. And in the beginning, it was like a little hesitancy. But once they started to see, like, dang, like, these platforms are popping, like online, like you just sent us to do an IG live and we got how many thousands of views on it? Like, that's nowhere near what we were getting on just that little station that we were doing. And it makes a big difference. So part of that absolutely was in that conversation of how we can build this thing out to be more effective. And that's one of the things that really helped in having to not only educate the client, but really show them this is what we mean and why we're sharing what we're sharing. It's not just to, throw some things out there and just all willy-nilly. No, this is strategic and it makes a difference. But I think by doing that, it absolutely helped them to understand why it was important that we incorporated all these areas that they typically would not consider or even look at as a place for their brands and their businesses to be featured. And then there we were. But yes, going from around 100,000 mark to multi-million in a matter of months was a huge difference. But even more so, this was only supposed to be a one and done project. Do the red carpet, do that, and then we're out. And here we are working years later with them.
And that's the thing. And then you have the receipts for everyone else.
Yeah.
And the passion strategist says, what keeps you going when shifts, pivots, and obstacles present, especially as a woman of color in your industry?
Oh, goodness. That's such a good question. What keeps me motivated?
What keeps you going, motivated,
What keeps me going?
with the pivots and all the shifts, because you just mentioned all the changes that are happening.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a really good question. I think what keeps me going, anytime I would feel, a little insecure or feel like, oh, man, I'm shooting way above my weight class. I'm doing this proposal meeting. They work with multi-million-dollar companies, and some of them are on a net 365, which, by the way, is insane. If you've ever heard of that or done any one of those in an RFP. But a net 365 is basically, we're not going to pay you until the first year is done. Okay, that's crazy. But I digress. In those moments that I felt, like very just, man, I don't know if we're going to get this, or, just feeling some kind of way, I always just refer back to those confidence building things, those affirmations. Makes a really big difference. And then I also want to say that I do make it a point now in my career to remind myself of where I came from. I was an Army brat taking on internships, doing free internships just to learn about the field, begging for the chance, like, please let me write your press release. Let me just do this. Can I help you with this? Being just hungry and just having the passion to get it done. Then going from that point to working with brands like Lancome, working with brands like Tarte and Mally Beauty, Hum Nutrition, then working with athletes, like being able to now be working with the Texas Tailgaters that are part of the Savannah Bananas, looking at and reminding myself of where I've come from and how far I've gone are the things that I think is necessary in those moments where you need something to keep you going. It is not, what is the word I'm thinking of? It's not beyond me when I look at the headlines and I see Like last year, for example, over 600,000 Black women lost their jobs, laid off because of as a result, I believe, of the DEI rollbacks. This year, I think we're on track. Black men now are affected, and I think it's a little over 500,000, right? When I look at those things, I think about when I started branding PR. I started branding PR back in 2020. I had left my 9 to 5. Before I left that 9 to 5, I had been the rock star employee. Within a year and a half, I had them winning national awards, getting national recognition. And the role was created for me, and I was promoted in that role as their first VP of communications. Well, at that time, when you get into C-suite level leadership, you learn more information. Well, I got access to the budget. And within the budget, it showed me that I was getting paid to the tune of $30,000 to $40,000 difference compared to my white male counterparts, none of which had a degree, none of which had the experience that I had in my specific role. I was making roughly $35,000 with an MBA. Okay, playing in my face is an understatement. I left that job when I saw that within, I'd say, a day or so. I prayed on it, talked to my husband about it. And one day I went into the office and I just felt God say to me, like, okay, you done. You done. And I'm like, right. I got to do that. You're done. I don't even know why you came in here. I heard him and I listened to that. And I said, okay, well, I got my steps. Let me get my purse. I was like, Viola Davis, let me get my purse. God said, I'm out of here. He said, I'm done. And he said, I'm done, y'all. Bye. And I quit that day. I got my LLC within that week. And I would say within about 2 weeks, I had my first lineup of clients. And it was all just from me texting, hitting my network up, all the people I had met over the years, doing different projects, different campaigns. And I just said, hey, I started branding PR. And if you need help with PR support, I can do this. Well, I do this one, but I also do this. If you need help with anything, just let me know. I'd love to propose to you or pitch to you. And that's how it really got started. So whenever I get into these moments of uncertainty or feelings of self-doubt, I just think back into those moments. I think back into the audacity that I had. You just quit your job. You just walk up out of there, girl.
You had permission
stop
from
playing.
God. You had
But I had permission. I had permission though. I had permission. That was different, And then and in those moments, of being, undervalued as a Black woman in the corporate space. When I tell you what I look like now is not you wouldn't know what I've been through. And what I look like now is a complete contrast to what I looked like then. I had that stiff wig. It was black with a blunt bob. I'm picturing it in it was a blunt bob. And I had my little blazer tied up, ready for work. I'm ready to do all the things and show up, and I'm going to be the best at it. And even in doing all of that, they still did not see me as an equal. They still did not respect me. They didn't respect me enough to pay me for what I brought to the table, despite the proved evidence that I could produce. Okay. And that to me was the motivating factor to say, enough is enough. We're going to do this thing and we're going to stay on track. But sometimes we need those reminders of where we've been and how far we've come to remind us of who we are.
Yes.
The level of resiliency that we have, because we could have quit then, but then look at all the blessings and all the things that happened after that. There was some struggles, there was some failures there. Absolutely not. We're not gonna sugarcoat that. They're absolutely still there. Mm-hmm. But certainly, look what that happened, but then something else happened from that. And that is the thing that can keep you going. Mm-hmm. Yes, it sucks right now, but you know what? It sucked then. I quit a job and had no backup plan. I was really riding on God's.
But he's the best to ride on.
He's the best. When they be talking about God will work it out, turn the the extraordinary into something. That is what they're talking about. That is what he's talking about. That is what they're talking about. Making things happen that really statistically that should have never happened. You know what I should have been? I should have been on the welfare line. I should have been getting like gone. Like I should have been on unemployment, not been able to do anything.
Or you'd
I
have
should
been
not have been
staying,
able to.
or you'd have been staying there saying, you know what though, at least I have a job. At least I have a
Yep.
job, which is what a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people would do. At least I have a job, and
Exactly.
they would not have when they heard the call in to say go, they would have been like, no,
Yep.
I gotta keep the job.
But I have to
So
stay here. I have to stay here because I need the check. I still have to get it, despite the fact that I have now visibly seen how underpaid I am for what I'm doing. And then on top of that, we talking about qualifications, and I don't want to get too political, but we talk about qualifications all the time. People didn't have degrees. They didn't even have degrees compared to me. I had multiple by that point. and I'm this is supposed to be my equal. Oh, come on. Come on. So, it's those moments and those memories and those things that I feel like we all have to go back to. Any of those times where you feel like, oh man, how do I stay motivated and with the layoffs? How do I stay motivated with all of this going on, with gas prices going up, foods going up? How do I stay motivated? Just keep going. Think about where you were. Is this your rock bottom? It might be, but maybe there was a rock bottom then. You were probably saying that then. And look how you got through it. And you still survived, and you still made, and you still thrived. Those are the types of things that we have to constantly remind ourselves in the good times, but also in the bad times, that you know what, that was my rock bottom then, but now I'm like, shoot, that was cake. And this is going to be that too for me. I'm going to get through it. I've always been scrappy. I've always been gritty. I'll figure out a way. That's why I love when I see all of these comments about, while white folks are freaking out about the obvious recession that we have, Black folks are just like, this is a Tuesday. What you ain't been without, you ain't too. That's why I don't get my joy in things. I have my joy. I have a life. I have a family, friends,
yeah.
incredible people, colleagues that I love and enjoy. Like, I'm rich.
That's right. Yes, you are. Yes, we are, because we know exactly where our help come from. And
Hmm.
Heather, at least you said, what tips do you have for how brands use their social media?
Oh,
Hi, Heather.
yes.
Let me make sure I said,
That's
hi,
a
Heather.
yes. Hey there. So, oh, that's a good question. So my tips on how brands use social media, I think I mentioned it earlier about like the redundancy. Don't get stuck in the proverbial circle of, I just posted, I did my 3 posts for the week, check that box, okay, on to the next. Don't get into that. Find your flow, find the times that optimize the most for your account, and share real content. There is the ongoing conversation now, because ChatGPT and Claude and so many other AI supported tools have blown up, that people are now obviously showing their cards and showing their hands of, I use AI to create this post. And I kind of think that maybe the social media platforms are starting to pick it up too, because those that are obviously AI posts, they're not getting as much engagement as the ones that are just authentic, you just posted and just shared, right? That makes a big difference. So I would definitely say reduce the redundancy. Make quality content. If this way it works, do it on this date. If it doesn't work, don't do it on that day. But don't get so stuck in the formula of, okay, I have to do 2 to 3 posts and I have to do this and I have to do that. That takes away from the authenticity aspect of it. That takes away the realness. And at the end of the day, consumers want to connect with real brands. They need to know who you are. They're not going to know who you are when you're sharing the exact same content that every other business is, because now people have decided AI is the way. Here, create a bunch of posts, take it, don't even personalize it, don't even customize it, and then they just post. And then we're done. Moving on to the next. The genericness of it all is why you're seeing so much of platforms and brands, or really brands on platforms, having low engagement. It's because it's inauthentic. The purpose of social media is to be social. You creating posts in advance that are super generic, really aren't anything that your audience wants to know about or is interested in, is not going to get you any further along than what you were doing before. And that's it. So part of what I would share as the main tip is reduce that redundancy, bring in that authenticity, bringing that realness into what you're sharing on social media. Show some behind the scenes. What is it like working with you? What is it like working with your team? How do you build these things? And maybe not the specifics of your trade secrets, but what does it look like to step into your world for a day? And what do you think about things? I want to know what people think about things. I'm nosy. I want to. What are your thoughts on what's your thoughts on that movie? Did you like it? I thought it. I liked it a little bit. Or what do you think of the award show? Like, I know a hot thing right now is talking about social media influencers being on the red carpet, taking the place of traditional reporters and journalists. That's a hot item. I would want to hear from communications professionals, what are your real thoughts on it? And not the soft, oh, well, everyone has a place. And maybe that is a part of the discourse, is like, you've got those folks, and then you've got others that are like, I don't really agree with it because they're not trained to interview people. And it shows. There was a lot of real feedback about how it just wasn't great. And it seemed a little all over the place. But then again, you have someone that is trained in, how do I put it? They create content for their own space.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to create for others. That's where expertise comes into play. It's no different than when I used to work at Tarte or Lancome, and we would work closely with the makeup artists of the company. I was a marketing trainer, so I did everything from marketing, sales, comms, all of that other stuff. So we would often get with the makeup artists, and we would see their technique and what they were doing and kind of bring in the products and all of that good stuff. But in observing them, one of the things that I noticed was like, this is kind of what they mean by that professionals and that expertise. A makeup artist is going to give you this level of quality and product, but that's because they're trained to do this, not only trained, but also the years of doing this. And they're dealing with a different face, different tones, different structure, and they have to learn every single one in order to get it right. That is expertise. That is precision, right? Mm-hmm. Versus like a makeup influencer. Your makeup is beautiful, is flawless, not knocking them at all. But you have learned to perfect how to do it for you. Can you duplicate that on another person? The answer is usually, well, no. And that depends on the influencer, because are they an influencer or are they a makeup artist that became an influencer? Then, okay, you have an argument. But for the most part at that time, this was around 2016, 2017, a lot of it was just regular girls just doing their makeup and found a way that they really liked it and made it look really, really good. But the point is that there is a difference. The professionalism and that experience, that expertise, it comes in a different way than someone that is just simply doing off on their own. Of course, you've perfected it because you've perfected you. And that's great, not knocking it. But that's not the same as doing it for someone else that's completely different from you. Different eye shape, different facial structure, so on and so forth. That is a completely different thing. And I apply that here in the media sense. You know, it's different when you're having to interview the angry guy, the happy guy, the one that keeps rambling and talking, the one that doesn't talk enough. Okay? An expert knows how to navigate that because you've either had to deal with it or you have learned how to navigate and deal with it so that you're prepared to do it. A regular person that's just on here just talking it away is very, very different because, again, they're just talking to themselves. You have nobody to respond back to you to say, oh, well, I don't really like that. You don't have anybody doing that. There's no back and forth, and there's no analyzation because you're just talking to you. So it's very, very much a different thing. But I know I can go on a tangent with that one.
But that same influencer that goes on that red carpet, but if they do an interview and put it on their platform, they may reach more than the actual journalist that's trained, right? So so that's why
there's
they want to mix, because you need that reach like that, like, you know. Even if it was a bad interview, if it goes to this person who has millions of followers, it's going to get shared. Did you see how dumb she sounded? Or not to talk about anybody, but you see how dumb that was the dumbest question alive. Then it goes all over the place because it's a dumb question, but the dumb question by the influencer who has a lot, like,
the algorithm supports that. The algorithm supports that. So, you know, it's going to push and amplify that type of content that is almost so, I don't want to say unprofessional, but it's like, it's so
Unpolished.
unkept, unpolished. Ooh, that's a good word. Yes. It's so unpolished that they're just like, oh, yeah, we can use that. And people engage with it. So, you know, they buy
Mm.
into it. So even now, when you do have professionals that are doing the work, they're almost questioning that, like, oh, you must have used AI, or you can't, and there's no way that you did that. It's like, I wrote that. Like, I could show you my notebook. I still have a notebook, you know, paper, a pen, you know.
Yes, I got
They
that right
question
next to me.
they
Paper
question
and
the
pen.
professionals now and think it's, you know, AI or generated, because they're not used to professionalism within the different industries. So it's definitely interesting to see how much of a transition this has become. But I'm definitely looking forward to the pendulum swing, because you know it always does. It always swings back. So right now we're on the extreme side. Eventually it's going to swing back, and there's going to be that call and that need for, okay, we've had our fun. Now we want real hard-hitting journalism, real conversation, somebody that actually asks real good questions and pays attention to their interviewer and really gets the things that we're needing to get here, and not just a sound bite or not just a clip, because you can get sound bites off of good quality journalism too. That is very
Mhm.
possible. But unfortunately, we're in a space now where the authenticity piece in all of its forms is prioritized over the professionalism of journalism and work. So it's
Yes,
interesting.
yes, yes. But you know, that's why I mean, you know, through the years, right? It's done so many different things, and I missed the when we were on TV and YouTube was coming. I
Yeah.
missed it then. I missed the I was stuck in saying I'm staying with TV, and then
Yep.
meanwhile
Yep.
my colleague went off and did YouTube and made a lot of money, and I was stuck on TV. So I just refuse now to be stuck. So my
Yep.
mind has to say, all right, I want to learn as much AI as I can. I want to do like because I don't want to get
Yes.
I don't want to miss out like I did before when I should have, you know, I should have like
Yep.
I watched my colleague blow up. Like he said, I told you to go YouTube, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yep. Yep.
you did,
And
you
that's
did.
a real thing. That's a real thing.
Mhm.
I have colleagues now that will be very clear. Oh, our agency does not use AI, and we refuse. It takes away work from creative. I've heard that it does something with the environment because it uses water to power AI. Don't quote me on this, but I heard there's like a sustainability environmental issue with using AI to it as well. But definitely, you know, I've always been in the space of early adoption. Let's try it out, let's see. And largely not because I just have always wanted to be in the newest thing. No, not necessarily, but I do want to be aware. And I think that's a big difference. I want to be aware of what people are going to, what are they using, how are they engaging on these platforms, what does it do? I want to know all of those things so I can properly inform my team of how they can use it, because eventually they're going to end up using it. You
Mhm.
know, so you need to know how to, as a leader, to be able to communicate, okay, here's the ins and outs of this. This is how I would like for you to use it if you're going to use it within this space. There's a huge ethical aspect of it. I think it's super, super important that you are sharing with clients that you are using AI tools if it has become like a prominent thing for you all, largely because, you know, billable hours, you know, output, all of that good stuff. While AI has made you more efficient, it does cut back a lot of time now, right? So with that, what are you doing to replace that time to create and add value for your clients? That's something that you have to absolutely communicate with your clients. So that's something that we absolutely do, but definitely from the ethical side, you know, maintaining that transparency is important, but also educating the staff and the team about what they can do with it is important. But yeah, colleagues, I have several colleagues that are just like, nope, I am not doing it. I don't want any parts. I'm not contributing to the machine. I'm just like, okay, well, you gonna mess around and get left behind, girl, but go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
We not.
I learned a very, very valuable lesson And just right now, my mind is just like, I'm not going to get left behind ever. And that's my goal. I don't
Yes.
want to be left behind because,
Yes.
I want whatever the half of this life that's going to be, like, I need it to be explosive. And that's what I want. I want
Yep.
an explosive, I just want to explode. That's the goal.
Yes.
That's what I want in my life. Right? And I'm
There you
claiming it and
go.
I'm asking God for it. Like, I told him exactly what I wanted.
Yes.
So let's make it happen,
Yes.
God. Let's make it
Yes,
happen.
claim it. Yes, yes, and put that energy out. Exactly, exactly. And that's the way you got to be with it. But yeah, as long as you think of it as like, let me see what this is about and what it can do for me and how it can allow me to be more efficient, make me be more aware. I think you're already winning. It's the ones that just want to do something just to do it. No, that's not the way to go about anything in life, because how many things that we've had that are no longer things that we just jumped on, right? Like, not everything is worth jumping on. So jump into it, but have it in your mind that I'm here to learn about this and how it can be incorporated in some aspect of my work, my personal, whatever, life, and make it make sense. But I wouldn't go into it thinking, okay, it's just going to be, oh, yeah, I just need to do it. No, not in that sense. Not in that sense at all. Look at it as I'm staying educated and abreast of what's going on in my industry.
And that's what we're doing. And I know we could be here all night. And I thank everybody for being here. Najee says, well, I agree. Authenticity matters. Shelly, another great conversation. And I'm learning some things. Well, I'm glad you're learning. You're learning from the best right here. She's full of joy. She's amazing. And for everybody that's here, if they want to, um, I'm sure you have an application or criteria for working with you. What type of clients do you accept, and how can they learn more about you, or actually be a part of your agency? Because I know you're not accepting everybody. I just want to be very I'm trying to be very particular about what I'm saying, because I know you can't just
Yes.
accept everybody.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for asking, because oftentimes it is just the assumption that every agency is for everyone, and that's not the case. Not at all. Everyone's got their niches, their specific focus areas, and so on and so forth. So it definitely makes a big difference. So for us, we work with a variety of industries. Our primary is entertainment and lifestyle. So entertainment being musicians, artists, especially indie artists. We're really big on that. Athletes is one that we definitely work with.
You
And
said
then,
indie artists, and like,
yes, yes, indie artists. So we work with
really?
a company out in Nashville called Underground Music Collective. Shout out to them if they're tuned in. And they have a host of indie artists that are represented across the country, and we help to support them. So it's always really, really cool. We actually had a South by Southwest event with them last week, and we were able to see some of their artists perform at the Sahara Lounge here in Austin. So that was really pretty cool for them to
Oh, that's where you are in
travel.
Austin.
And
You're in
yes,
Austin, Texas.
yep, Austin, Texas. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, yes, thank you. But definitely come down sometime, to show you around.
come on,
So
man.
yeah, yes, yes. But entertainment, lifestyle, we work in the beauty space. We have worked again with nonprofits in the past, but entertainment and lifestyle is definitely the areas that we typically will work with. And we work with brands and we work with public figures. And I know that's a very clear distinction, because some agencies, they only work with organizations. We actually work with both. We represent public figures that need specific image management. And then we have some that really want to focus and center their PR efforts around their brand or their organization. We work with both. And that's definitely an important distinction to be made. We do support both of them. But yeah, overall, um, we definitely will take an application. If you're interested and want to see what we can do, we will take your information down. What we like to do is an audit of your account, which is basically us snooping. We get to see, ask some really pertinent questions, but we also do our own research. We audit everyone that works with us and doesn't work with us. And we just verify, where you're at and what is your digital footprint like when it comes to the media. So we do this in order to not only find out more about the brands, but also just see if it's a good fit to work with. We've worked with several different types of businesses that range from a startup all the way up to those that are already thriving and doing really, really well. So it's definitely a very clear distinction there too. I know some agencies are very specific. We only work with startups, or we only work with Fortune 500. We have a very wide range when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, what we look at is your story. And I mentioned this earlier. The story is the biggest thing. What can you tell me in the 30 seconds or little snippet in an email about your brand and why you need support, but also just who you are? And that typically is enough to let us know if this is going to work out, or is this going to be something that we can help foster and get you to that next level that you're looking for. But all of this can be done by visiting brandingpr.com. We have our own
Say it one
form
more time so they
submission.
get it. Like, say it
Yes,
one.
yes, of course. It's brandincpr.com. So brandincpr.com. And we also are on social media at BRANDINCPR. So Brand Inc. PR, all major social media platforms. You can pop on over there, ask questions. And like I said before, if you want to, just kind of see, hey, are we a good fit for who you represent? And can you help us? Just submit a form on the website and someone will get in contact with you and we'll go from there. And you can also check out all the cool stuff that we've got going on. We always have something going on. I keep my team busy.
Yes. And once again, she's got a team. Once again, she's got a team that knows. I want everyone to know, when you see this later, you see this now, know who you're working, who you want to work with. So you have to come prepared. And Brown Style said, great conversation. But I want everyone to know that the Women in Media edition of Brown Style magazine is available. You can purchase it, as well as get the digital copy and or physical copy. So go to Brown Style Magazine to make sure you support the Women in Media, because it's like literally blowing up. And you can see why. Brown Style featured Dr. Brandi. You can see why they featured Dr. Brandi, because she's incredible. And I've really truly enjoyed this conversation. I had a semi bad day, so you just really picked up my moment, my day. So I am so incredibly happy to talk to you, and thank you so much for agreeing to be here.
Yes, yes. Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so glad that, we could make this happen. And, it was such a pleasure to speak with you. So definitely, let's do this again. Come on by the Branding PR podcast. I would love to
I would
host
love
you,
to.
and we can keep this conversation going.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And you have an amazing night. And I know it's late for everybody, but have an amazing. No, what time is it there? No, it's not late there. What time is it there?
Well, it's 8:40, 8:48. So it's almost
Okay.
9 here. So you got it. Oh, you 10. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
getting
oh
late.
yeah, but that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
a late bird in life.
Okay.
Period. Like literally, I
Yes,
stay up forever.
okay.
I need to get sleep, but I'm always up. But yes, thank you so much, and you have a great evening.
All right. Thank you. You too. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.